a beautiful young woman traveling alone in paradise, looking for sun and fun, and most of all, someone to share it with. If love makes us blind, romance makes us entirely too careless. Our guard down, all our natural defenses lulled to sleep. There are all kinds of nightmares. I hate the ones that come just before dawn. Thrust into the harsh light of a new day and an old nightmare. Worst of all, this nightmare had occurred before. What I thought was part of my distant past was suddenly my immediate present. My darkest memory had returned. The advantage of science is that it strives for certainty. For me, that was now its disadvantage. I didn't want to be certain. Nui, I want every bit of this lab work double-checked. No mistakes on this one. I'll make sure of it.
Hey, Doc. Nui, what's shaking?
Not now, Mac. I'm busy.
Okay. Let me run down what I got from the officers in the scene. Her name is Marissa Clark. She's 26, tourist from Albuquerque. She was strangled last night. The body was dumped.
Mac, I'm well aware of what the cops have, okay? Do you mind? Any more seeds, Nui? No, that's all of them, Doc.
Seeds? What have we got here? Flower garden?
No, Mac, what we have here is a corpse of a beautiful young woman who was strangled by a maniac. A madman that I just happen to know.
What are you trying to say, Doc?
6 years ago in Los Angeles, 4 young women were killed in exactly the same fashion. 2 kinds of seeds placed in the body, the same kind of Garrett used to strangle them.
6 years is a long time.
Oh, it's him. He started again.
All right, Doc. Wait a minute. Who handled the case in L.A.?
Foster, Jared Foster. Max, this man kills without compunction. He's like my cat. He brings me a dead bird and leaves it on my porch. And this maniac leaves me people.
Lieutenant Wolfe, I'm Jared Foster.
You're from L.A.?
As soon as I got your message, I jumped on the next available flight. This killer's the big one for me. This is the one that got away.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. From what I hear about this guy, we could use an expert.
Well, I guess I qualify. I investigated this case exclusively for over 3 years.
Well, how much time you got to spare?
I took my 20 and retired last year, so whatever it's worth to you, I'm all yours.
How close did you get?
Not very. For one thing, I had problems working with the assistant coroner. It was her first big case.
Well, you won't have any problems here. You might not be able to keep your eyes on her. Her name is Dr. Dawn Holliday.
God. Now it's beginning to make sense.
What's that?
Dr. Holliday was the case coroner in L.A. He followed her.
I'm sorry, Holly. You were right about the type of seed, but they don't appear to be unusual.
Nothing unique or distinctive about them?
Not on first glance. The best way to know for sure would be to plant some and see what grows.
I was hoping to find something out right away. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I feel I failed a good neighbor test. If you'd like a second opinion, I'd be happy to arrange it.
No, I know you're the best botanist around. It's just... This is all starting out like it did before, slow and painful.
Tell you what. I could put them in my hyperdioxide chamber. It should accelerate things a bit.
Walter? You're the best.
That's Field being out of the game.
I sometimes miss the action, but I got a couple of things that may just give me a whole new career.
Dr. Holliday, we've got that accidental Johnny filter for 2 o'clock. Which hot tub room did you want? Give it to Dr. Boyd. On vacation. Then someone else. Great.
Holly?
Dr. Foster.
She still makes me use doctor or your eminence.
Coming all this way on my say-so, you must think this is the L.A. killer.
This time I'll get him. With your help, of course. Another beautiful young woman. Just like the others. How about the seeds?
Same. 2 kinds planted inside the body.
This was a very big case in L.A., right? What's the chance that this could be a nut job's attempt at a copycat killing?
Negative. Because not everything got into the file. For instance, a peculiar pattern of marks left on the victim's necks. Looks the same to me. What do you say, Doctor?
Yes. Some sort of thin rope with knots every couple of inches.
Wrong, Doctor. The garrote wasn't made of rope at all. I never stopped looking for what would have left those tracks. The pattern of knots is unique to especially braided leather made into whips by 17th century monks and used for self-flagellation.
I'm guessing you can't pick one of those up at Walmart, huh?
I'm sure Mac is very impressed. I already told him how obsessed you were with this case.
I prefer the term diligent. You can just get a clue from the last piece of this puzzle.
What do you mean?
The killer hasn't completed the pattern yet. I haven't received a letter.
You know, Doc, it's always better if we verbalize our feelings. Okay, so I watch Oprah sometimes. Come on. Tell me about the letters, huh? I'll throw you in the water. You don't tell me.
All right, I'll tell you. This animal saw me on television and he singled me out. He sent me letters after each of the murders, claiming he did it to impress me. 5 young women brutally murdered, and he did it all for me.
Come on.
There was nothing I could do but wait for the other shoe to drop. I didn't have to wait long. My dearest Dawn, I expect you will be surprised to hear from me again after so long a time. I hope you have missed our correspondence as much as I have. I've discovered it's true that absence makes the heart grow fonder. I hope you were suitably impressed with the latest token of my love. I found her quite a tasty little morsel.
There's no doubt this is authentic.
Looks real to me, but you should ask Dr. Holliday.
Well, she's a little too busy to join us. Well, I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to stand around listening to this garbage either.
Or maybe she's headed off the deep end again.
Each letter from this killer had been intensely personal, like a rape of the mind. He was determined to force his way into my most sensitive and private thoughts. Worse still, I couldn't keep his insidious assault a secret. The killer had struck again, and all I could do was take the body back to 1 West Waikiki and await the inevitable follow-up.
So this just came this morning?
Yes.
The code he always uses. Hand-painted flower on the envelope and the Greek letters Alpha and Omega for beginning and end. How's the text?
More of the same.
Listen to this last part. I can feel us being drawn together for the inevitable end. Only one woman in the world can provide a fitting climax to my work. Till death do us part.
That's our man.
I never thought I'd say this again, but I'd like copies of the other letters from L.A.
I'll order them.
I'm surprised you didn't bring copies with you.
I don't need to. I know them by heart.
Did you notice a discrepancy in the final line?
Till death do us part?
That's a literary faux pas. Most people make the same mistake. But in the original 4 letters, the killer used the correct phrase. Till death us do part. Right?
Now that you point it out, you might be right.
Well, we'll know for certain in a few hours. The letters are on their way, along with all the relevant police files.
Good, I'm getting the autopsy reports as well.
Hey, Doc, do me a favor. Try not to go wandering around by yourself. This last part here definitely sounds like a threat.
I know. The second murder renewed our sense of urgency, but we were making little progress. Running in quicksand while the pressure kept building, like trying to flee a monster in your dreams.
Here we are.
Amazing, the seeds have already sprouted.
Wonders of modern science. These will develop into orchids, these into a common type of weed.
The first batch was placed in the mound. The second batch...
Yeah, I got the picture from your report, Doc. Very kinky.
This is what the orchids will look like.
Walter, is there anything unusual about these particular plants?
Nothing stands out so far. Well, it's possible something may emerge later in the growth cycle.
Uncle Walter.
Oh, hello there.
Down, boys.
My niece. Deirdre, I want you to meet some people. She goes to college on the mainland. Deirdre is the real flower in my life. I've raised her since we lost my dear sister, Janine. Deirdre, this is Dr. Dawn Holliday.
Call me Holly.
Nice to meet you. What kind of doctor are you?
Actually, I'm Honolulu's medical examiner.
You mean you have something to do with dead bodies?
Oh, she has everything to do with dead bodies.
Oh, this is Lieutenant Wolfe of the Honolulu Police.
Nice to meet you.
I hope you're not too put off by my specialty, Deidre. Since we're neighbors, I'm hoping we can get to know each other.
Put off? It's great. I'm majoring in criminal justice in college.
Ah.
Oh.
You're minoring in criminal justice as an adjunct to your major. She's going on to law school.
Wait a minute. You're a cop and she's the medical examiner? Does that mean these plants have something to do with the murder?
It's a good deduction.
Cool. Who got murdered? Are these evidence?
Oh, we're really not at liberty to say.
Les fleurs du mal, huh? The title of the seminal work by the great French poet Baudelaire means flowers of evil.
I was just going to say that.
A particularly appropriate poem is about a ghost haunting a woman's dreams. Like an angel, sterilized, piercing to your sleeping side, gliding down with oily flight in the inwards of the night. I shall give you, my dark one, kisses frozen as the moon. Caresses such as snakes give slithering round the open grave. When the livid daylights waken, you will find my place forsaken, icy, till the evening's here. As others might, with tenderness rule your life and your youngness. I shall rule you with a fear.
Uncle Walter, that's scary.
Wonderfully performed.
Yeah.
Isn't he great? When my mother died, Uncle Walter used to read me to sleep every night.
Well, I must confess, Walter has read to me a few times, too.
Oh, really?
Please, you're embarrassing me.
Hard to believe something as perfect as an orchid would be the trademark of a sadistic monster.
It's my favorite place on the island. I'm glad I talked you into sharing it.
Couldn't think of a better way to spend my afternoon off. What's the matter?
I'm looking for spies. My Uncle Walter has a tendency to follow me.
Ah, a little overprotective, huh?
It used to drive me crazy. My mother, too.
You said your mother.
Yeah, she's a late child. An accident, I guess you'd say. She was almost young enough to be his daughter. When their mother died, he practically raised her himself. They were unusually close.
Mm.
Until she started noticing boys.
Rough stage for any parent.
Yeah, but he had real problems. Hang-ups about sexuality. When my mother died, he transferred all those feelings to me. I sometimes think Uncle Walter wants human life to be totally spiritual and poetic. He forgets we're also flesh and blood, animal urges.
I wrote a poem once. Yeah, I won an award. Partygoers, heed my verse. Don't put the quart before the hearse. Long branch beer. I guess I better be taking home, huh?
Are you in a hurry?
Deirdre, you are a terrific person. You're very young.
I'm old enough to know what I want.
What about your Uncle Walter? I don't think he was proved.
I guess I have to find out about that.
The Sandwich Islands were discovered by Captain James Cook in 1778. They're known the world over for their wonderful climate and beauty. Storm clouds were beginning to gather in more ways than one.
I beg your pardon.
How did you get in here?
Your front door was unlocked.
Well, you could have knocked.
I did. Several times, Doc. I was worried about you. Doc, you gotta be more careful. You gotta start locking up.
That's why I moved here, because you don't have to lock your doors. It's one of the joys of the neighborhood.
Be joyous and joyful after we catch this guy, okay, Doc? Until then, be safe.
Victim number 2. Dear Dr. Holliday, she walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes. At least that was true yesterday, but she turned out to be a whore like the others.
What's this?
I'm going out.
Where?
Max showed me this really hot new dance club, and I want to check it out.
Absolutely not.
Uncle Walter, I'm almost 21.
And that gives you the right to start dressing like a prostitute?
Don't call me that. This is what everyone wears.
I didn't ask you to come home so you could go night clubbing. I asked you here to get your life back on track.
There is nothing wrong with my life.
Young lady, you were not raised to be some kind of sexual plaything for athletes.
What are you talking about?
I know all about the social practices of that college you chose to attend.
My dates are my personal business.
You call what you're doing dating? Since when does a wholesome date require nudity and public bathing?
Oh, my God. You
again.
I did what was necessary.
You're interfering in my life, just like you did my mother's. I know how your meddling drove my father out of my life, out of my mother's life.
That's a lie. Learned at your mother's naked knee. She was a tramp, and you're turning out just like her.
Good, because if I am like my mother, I know why, and so do you. Because you drove her away with feelings of guilt about the most wonderful emotion a person can have, Uncle Walter, and that's love. And that's just the kind they talk about in poetry. But honest to God, tangible, throbbing, physical love. I'm glad you did that. Makes what I have to do much easier. I saw somebody behind the house.
So did I. Come on, find him. Oh, but your line was dead.
So I had escaped becoming the next victim. But Eileen Fiore hadn't been so lucky. Now we had another body, and nobody knew how many more were in our future. The post-mortem had a sickening sameness to it. Until... Are you sure these are labeled correctly? Absolutely. Doc, I checked it 3 times. This is great. I think our killer just made a big mistake.
Doc, are you saying you now think this is a copycat killing?
Yes. I checked with Walter. He said that the 2 sets of seeds were definitely reversed. The weeds were found in the mouth this time.
It was raining like hell out, Doc. It was dark. Even the real killer could have mixed up the seeds. Huh?
Maybe.
Or the seeds were mishandled following the autopsy.
They weren't. And, these last 2 letters, they follow the structure of the others, but the voice rings hollow. It's trying to frighten me. And the killer could do that with a twist of a syllable.
But you were a different person then. You were younger, easier to frighten.
No, Mac. No, those original letters terrify me. Oh, I forgot to tell you. There were some signs of an atypical struggle, and I have a blood sample that does not belong to the victim. So you gentlemen give me a couple of days. I will prove it one way or the other.
Sorry, my dearest Holly, but time has finally run out. You and for me till death do us apart. Do.
Who is that? Mack Wolfe. All right, here I am. I'm coming. All right, back up, Henry. Back up. What?
Geez, man, what the hell are you doing?
What the hell are you doing?
Just going to the bathroom. Oh, yeah? Is that where you usually do all your typewriting?
I don't know what you're talking.
Come on, this innocent routine is killing me. Where is it?
All right.
It's right here. You writing another little love letter to threaten Holly this time?
No, take a look for yourself. I'm just trying to turn my life's biggest failure into its biggest success.
Getting whimsical on me, Foster. I'm not following you.
True life murder mysteries. They're worth a lot of money. The movies and television. I was just typing in part of the last letter.
Sorry. Still, I'd say these new murders are somewhat of a godsend for you, huh? Get the case back into the media, the news, huh? Suddenly your script ideas become very sellable.
I don't just want to sell it, man. I want to control it by being the guy who solves the case. Anybody could sell this story. Even you.
The 3rd letter came to my office instead of the house. It was just what someone plagued by nightmares needs. A wake-up call. Can you find me a cigarette? You do not smoke. Do you? Not since L.A. I I can't let him do this to me again. Oh, Doc, I thought you said that this was a copycat. The first two letters. Not this one. This is him. He's here. And he's very upset that I couldn't tell a real artist like him from a rank amateur. So you're telling me that we have two murderers? Have we developed anything that'll back up this story? No, just the opposite. I mean, every test we've run says that this is the same guy. Let's take a look at the personal effects of the last victim.
Miss Sloan? I'm Detective Foster of the Los Angeles Police. I'm working with Mack on this murder case.
He's mentioned you. What can I do for you?
Mack told me about the quarrel that you had with your uncle last night. Now, I'm wondering, if Mr. Mansfield keeps such close track of you, are you also aware of his whereabouts?
What do you mean?
The first murder victim here took a Sunset cruise. Are you aware that your uncle's name appears on the passenger list?
He loves cruises. And he goes every couple of weeks to give him inspiration for his poetry.
The second victim was a waitress at Keller's coffee shop. I understand Mr. Mansfield eats there a couple times a week and always sits in her section.
Look, what are you suggesting?
I could use your help. And I'm willing to show you what I've got on your uncle.
When?
I'll be in touch.
Why didn't I see this before? Look, there's several individual drops of the killer's blood. They're neatly left in plain sight. Now, each one is about the same size, same perfect round shape. The only way the killer could have left these was if he deliberately stood over her motionless body and carefully dropped them. Someone used maybe a syringe to place this blood where we would find it. Why would he do that? To provide a false match. The murders here are copycat killings.
What do you want?
I'm sorry about what happened. I'll never hit you again.
No, you won't. I'm leaving for the mainland tomorrow.
Whose idea was that?
Mine. Who do you think?
I'm not sure. Who's that man with you by the hammock?
You see? You can't help yourself. His name's Foster. He's interesting. He told me things.
What kind of things?
About you.
What could he possibly know about me?
You'd be surprised, Uncle Walter. He's a Los Angeles cop. Thanks for the ride along. I really had a great time.
Oh, come on. How could you, Brad? I accomplished absolutely nothing today.
True, but you did it with style.
Would have been a lot worse if you hadn't been there.
Want to quit? My Uncle Walter's gone to some kind of literary guild meeting.
I can't. I still have to check in at the station.
Always some excuse. I've never seen a guy with so much moral fiber.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Well, I guess I'll have to cool off with a moonlight stroll on the beach.
I don't think it's a good idea for you to walk on the beach.
So, come with me.
I can't. Please.
All right.
Night.
Mac, I've been trying to call you.
My cellular phone. What's up?
I don't have to wait for the full DNA test. I can say definitively that the killings here...
Deirdre. How's she doing, Doc?
She's out of danger. You got there just in time.
Great. So I was thinking, it was dark out there. Now, what if she wasn't his intended victim? I mean, you usually take a walk at that time of night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'd better get back there.
Good news. She's going to be all right.
Oh, thank God.
They want to keep her overnight for observation and run a couple of tests tomorrow, but there's no permanent damage.
I just don't understand how animals like that are allowed to roam the streets.
What do you got here, bro?
Well, it looks like a standard athletic shoe. Probably a cross-training model. See all these little triangle patterns?
Yeah.
Means it had not be sold.
Anything distinctive about it?
Yeah. Looks like one of those little knobs missing off the left shoe.
So we can find the shoe.
I should have no trouble matching it.
Anything else?
Yeah. Walter Mansfield, being completely cooperative. Even gave us permission to search his house.
Let's not disappoint him.
You got it, brother.
Oh, you drive all the way out to the scene. Don't say hello. I'm deeply hurt.
So what happened? Deirdre's uncle freak out and go after her?
Don't know. She wasn't able to.
If I was a betting man,
Where were you last night?
I was right here, working on a screenplay. By myself.
You know, there was a struggle. Since Deirdre's a martial arts student, I figured her attack would have some marks.
What? You want me to disrobe so you can check me for bruises?
Just take your shirt off. Yeah, Wolf.
The shoes, Mac.
Kimo, what do you got?
We found them in Walter Mansfield's closet.
Irony is rare in dreams, but this nightmare was special. And its irony simple. Fences? For more than 6 years, we couldn't find a single suspect in these serial murders. Now we had two.
With what we have, Doc, it looks like we've got Walter Mansfield cold.
I don't think so. Why would Walter come in voluntarily, give a blood sample that he knows might convict him?
Well, what about the shoes?
He said they were planted. And the fact that he let the police go into his house without a search warrant certainly corroborates that. Then there's Deidre.
Yeah, she said she couldn't identify her attacker.
But she also said that she had taken Taekwondo for 6 years and gave whoever it was a couple of really good shots. I don't think Walter could stand up to that.
Well, you can't be too sure of that, Doc. I mean, maybe this gentle florist routine is just an act. I mean, who knows? He could be strong as an ox.
I don't think so, Mac. I think there's another possibility.
I'm all ears.
I'm convinced the blood spatter evidence indicates a copycat killer at work. And if that's true, then the Honolulu killer is copying the Los Angeles killer right down to using the identical type of leather rope, right?
Okay.
Well, Jared Foster told us only two people in the world knew what kind of rope was used. The Los Angeles killer and himself. So if this isn't the Los Angeles killer...
Jared Foster. Killer. Most of the manuscript is perfectly typed and laser printed, except this last part. Poorly typed and most likely done on Foster's manual machine. I mean, obviously, I had help on this manuscript when he was in L.A.
Makes sense.
The interesting thing is this, Doc. The part about the killer coming to Hawaii and starting again, and that was done in L.A. before it actually happened here. Time to get an all points on Foster.
Holly,
Walter, what are you doing here?
Detective Foster asked me to meet him here.
Walter, he's trying to draw you away from Deidre. We better get to the hospital.
All right, the search warrant is on its way along with our lab guys, and nobody gets in or out of here until Chemo gets here. You know who he is, right? And now keep an eye out for Foster.
Okay, we better go over the things for a minute.
After my dear sister Janine died, I moved to Hawaii with Deirdre. I thought the islands might be a better place to raise a teenage girl. She reminds me so much of my Janine, who was a remarkably beautiful woman with this long, jet black hair. I used to brush it for her and recite her favorite poem, Lord Byron. She walks in beauty like the night.
A cloudless climb, starry sky.
And all that's best is dark and bright. Meet in her aspect and her eyes.
Meet in her aspect
Please, that was
and her eyes.
You know, Walter, I have a whole new theory about this murder case. I think we're dealing with 3 separate people.
Really?
I think we have the original killer, the copycat killer, and the killer as he is now. Something happened to the original killer 6 years ago. Something that made him stop. I don't think he'll ever kill again.
Interesting theory.
Hello?
Holly, Foster's dead. He was strangled with leather garret.
I see.
Holly.
Interesting devices. I've never had much use for them. There was one flaw in your deduction, Holly. The original killer might need to resume his old life in self-defense or in defense of someone he loved.
Doesn't change what you become.
The authorities will take a slightly different view. Do you know Byron's first drama, Manfred?
No.
The hero is a brilliant man, carried off in the end by demons for committing the unpardonable sin, incest with his sister. It was true, you know.
What was?
Byron himself had an affair with his sister. Oh, his half-sister, actually. Augusta.
Where are we going, Walter?
The paths of glory lead but to the grave.
No, I thought it was really strange that the real estate agent called him the perfect house. You arranged for me when you were next door, didn't you?
At least I could admire what I could not possess.
Walter, I think I understand your attachment to your sister.
No, she was more than a sister. More than a daughter. No, she was both of those. She was still more. She was my life. Had we but whirled enough in time, this coyness lady were no crime. Come, dear lady, to draw toward an end with you.
Oh, Walter, don't do that.
Heaven hath pleased so to punish me with this and this with me, that I must be their scourge and minister.
What?
You were right about my having changed. In Los Angeles, I desperately wanted you to catch me. Sure, I didn't. There's no point in your telling me you'll keep my secret forever. We both know that's not true. Only one way to end it. Out of the car. Now!
I'm sorry it has to be this way. It does. Back up. More!
Think about Deidre.
I am. The grave's a fine and private place, but none, I think, do there embrace.
All nightmares finally come to an end. This one had lasted 6 years. And now all that tension drained away. The sun was a little brighter, the water a little bluer, the trade winds a little softer. We were able to comfort Deidre by pointing out that the cause of her uncle's madness lay in his distant past. Her mother's death somehow triggered his murderous rampage, but it was Deidre's unconditional love that stopped it. There was even a kind of love in the way Walter ended it, quick and clean. Eventually, Flowers of Evil was just a book title again. Besides, I've always preferred Keats. Beauty is truth. Truth, beauty. That is all you know on earth, and all you need to know.
Now we love the come with me.